Please welcome our session chair on stage with a round of applause. Please welcome Mr. D.S. Mishra, former Chief Secretary, Uttar Pradesh. Please give a round of applause and welcome Mr. D.S. Mishra on stage. Mr. Mishra is a 1984 batch Indian Administrative Service IAS officer of the Uttar Pradesh cadre. He has served in various key positions for both the Government of India and the Government of Uttar Pradesh during his career. Please welcome our speakers for this session. Please welcome Mr. Venkata Subbarao Chunduru, Director, Arcadis IBI Group, Bangalore. And please welcome Ms. Sarika Panda Bhatt, Founder Trustee of Rahgiri. I request Mr. Mishra to steer this discussion forward.
Before starting the movie, I just want to say two things. It's a very emotional movie, and you know, we always talk about road safety, but I think we are not a victim right now so far, but we have a victim in our family or a friend circle. But this is about their story and their impact, how they have suffered. So I'll request everyone to switch off their phone or make your phone silent, and please watch this movie with respect, because it's a real life victim story. So we need to give some respect to them. Thank you so much.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Of the lunch is now slowing down. We can now attend to this. So let me welcome you all in a very, very important session. This whole 2 days conclave has been on the subject of Vision Zero India, integrating safety, sustainability and technology, being organized by the Global Road Infratech India chapter. And in this session we are going to focus on the topic of this is on the topic of Vision Zero India, integrating safety, sustainability and technology in infrastructure. Before we discuss, we have two panelists and I'm going to moderate that. So before we start discussing this subject, I was told by Sarika that she has developed a movie which is focused on the subject, how important it is, seeing the human angle. So maybe that gives you some kind of it will prepare you for listening to us in this session much more engrossingly. So request, she has already given the background. So let me request to start the movie and then we'll start the session right away. Thank you.
एक दिन उसके दोस्त ने पूछा, हेमंत, what is your vision? What do you want to do? तो उसको कहता है, I want to make a flying car so that nobody could meet an accident. तो वो ऑफिस के लिए जैसे जाता था, उसने ब्रेकफास्ट करा एंड ही वेंट। तो मैं अभी तैयार ही हो रही थी, तो इतने को मैं फ़ोन आ गया कि जी हेमंत का एक्सीडेंट हो गया और हेड इंजरी है। तो मुझे कहते जी ये बहुत ज़्यादा ब्लड चला गया और इसके चांसेस जो हैं जीने के वो सिर्फ 4 से 5% है। मैं कहा डॉक्टर साहब ये एक साइंस और फेथ की लड़ाई है, देखते हैं कौन जीतता है।
उस दिन तो मैं बोली कि चलिए आज बस से जाएंगे, लेकिन नहीं माने। लेकिन हम लोग उसी से गए बाइक से अपने। जो मैं कस्सियाँ क्रॉस की, उधर से एक ट्रक आ रहा था, इधर से मैं जा रही थी। ट्रक का तो अगला भाग मैं देख रही हूँ कि निकले, लेकिन पीछे वाला से मार दिया। तो पीछे वाला से मारा तो मैं और बड़ी वाली बेटी रोड के किनारे चले गए और ये और तन्नू एकदम बीच मेन रोड पे आ गए।
ये बात 2002 की है। तब मैं 3 साल की थी और मेरी बहन 9 मंथ।
डैडी का तुरंत ही वो ऑन द स्पॉट नहीं रहे और मुझे कमर के नीचे से प्रॉब्लम है, स्पाइन में प्रॉब्लम है मेरे, और मेरा एक पैर कट करके निकालना पड़ा।
In the last decade alone, India lost 1.3 million people to preventable road crashes, and another 5.3 million have been left disabled for life.
That is 426 people dying every day. That's approximately 18 every hour.
We add several thousand new vehicles to our roads each and every day, but the key question remains, have we done enough to deal with road accidents?
मैं सोनीपत से हूँ, तो रेसलिंग का काफ़ी क्रेज़ है यहाँ पे। तो मैं भी रेसलिंग करता था और मेरा भी सपना था कि आर्मी ज्वाइन करूँ, रेसलिंग के थ्रू देश का नाम रोशन करूँ। मैं 17 साल का था 2015 में। तो मैं सोनीपत से ट्यूशन पढ़ के आ रहा था, तो रास्ते में ट्रैक्टर के साथ बाइक की टक्कर हो गई थी। तो उसमें डॉक्टर्स को लेग एम्पुटेट करना पड़ा था मेरा। एक्चुअली एक्सीडेंट के बाद मैं काफ़ी रूड हो गया था फैमिली के साथ में, फ्रेंड्स के साथ में, क्योंकि इंसान एक बार बिल्कुल टूट जाता है। बचपन से कुछ सपने लेके चलता है इंसान, और जब वो सपने एकदम से टूट जाते हैं तो एकदम से इंसान का खुद से भरोसा उठ जाता है, भगवान से ही भरोसा उठ जाता है।
विक्रम एक्सीडेंट से पहले ये खेलने में भी बढ़िया था, क्रिकेट में, रेसलिंग बढ़िया करता था, क्रिकेट बढ़िया खेलता था, और शादी में, डांस में एक्सीलेंट था ये। और अब एक्सीडेंट के बाद तो उसकी कंडीशन है आपके सामने।
मेरे दोस्त बता रहे थे कि मैं हाथ पैर मार रहा था, तो मेरा ऑपरेशन होने के बाद मेरे पैर चले गए और तब से अब तक मैं ऐसे ही पैरालाइज हूँ। परेशानी तो बहुत ही है। फिर उसके बाद मैं घर पे रहता था, तो 6 मंथ बाद मुझे बेड सोल हो गए थे, घाव हो गए थे। तो इतने पैसे नहीं थे वही जो हम सर्जरी करा लें। मैं 3 साल उल्टा बेड पे लेटा रहा था।
When it comes to health, the poor actually they sell everything. How do they take care of the treatment? क्योंकि अगर पब्लिक हॉस्पिटल में इनका फ्री ट्रीटमेंट नहीं होता है तो देर ऑन टू प्राइवेट। बड़ा अच्छा लगता है इकोनॉमिक जो पेपर्स में पढ़ते, कैटास्ट्रॉफिक हेल्थ केयर एक्सपेंस, वी हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ दैट, लुक्स वेरी नाइस, बट व्हेन यू डील विद इट एज अ पेशेंट coming to a doctor and as a doctor treating the patient, it's heartbreaking You've made it friendly for cars, but you've not made it friendly for the weakest in the chain. A society is only civilized enough if you've taken care of the weakest.
Actually, this video, though it's a very intense, emotive, but this was of duration of nearly 22 minutes. It would have taken the half of the session. Our time allotted is only 1 hour. So we would like to skip this. Those who are interested may like to see this after the session is over. So Sarika will be here to exhibit this video later. Well, in this session, my objective was seeing this particular film was to show you how accidents completely change the life of human beings. Your near and dear get lost, his life is lost. Or there are people who become incapacitated. All their potential, all their strength, or you are seeing a sports person, he is not able to walk. When any accident happens on the road, you start blaming the driver. That he must have done something wrong. Without understanding who all could have been possibly contributor to this particular accident. The focus of net zero, the focus of safe travel is so much important. There was a resolution in UN that by 2030, the total accidents will be brought down to 50% over a period of 1 decade. And this is same thing for our country also, because we are also signatory there. But when you see our numbers, the numbers are, last year it was around 1.8 lakhs total accidents. So many people lost lives. How many people have lost their vitality? That number is far more. There's only those who have lost their lives. See the figures for the whole decade. This numbers runs like 1.5 million, more than 15 lakhs. And every individual is so much important. Their contribution to our economic development, contribution or GDP, it is all lost. Said that if we make our travel safe, it will contribute directly to around 2% of the GDP. So what is that we can do? We have been investing a lot on road travel, faster travel, speedier travel, through the expressways, to the highways, to good quality of road within the cities. We have also been adding to the motorization, large number of motors. See, the total figure is more than 2.5 crore last year that got registered. And out of that, nearly 2.8 crores. And out of that, nearly 80% is two-wheelers. And who are the most vulnerable? The two-wheelers, the cyclist, the pedestrian. They have a right to walk on the road, cross the road, but they lose their life. So what is that we can do so that this pain, the number of people who are losing their life, through what measures we can make their life much more secure? That is the focus of the discussion in this particular session. The focus lies on first see the road design. What is that you can do to the road design to make it much more safer? What is that you can do to the automobile? How you can become safe? I was just seeing an exhibition, we are moving on a road in a cycle. How can you make sure that somebody coming from behind or in the front knows that somebody is moving? Your presence is marked there. What is that you can do so that the enforcement is better? And in case some accident happens, the trauma care takes care. So that there is a golden hour, in that golden hour the life is not lost. Or there is a minimum damage. There could be an accident. One cannot make it 100% accident proof. In fact, that is the objective. Net zero means ultimately it should lead to zero accidents. But that is maybe far away. At least make sure that accidents are minimized, and now it's less than 50%. How that can be done? That is the focus of the discussion in this particular session. Our country is urbanizing very fast. You know, the total population in the urban areas, currently, it is, the census is yet to happen, it's around 36 to 37%. We project in terms of number, it will be around 50 to 53 crores, 520 to 530 millions. But it is projected to go beyond close to 90 crores, 900 million by say 2050, less than 2.5 decades. We are urbanizing faster than most countries across the globe. Our pace is 2 to 3%. Motorization is so fast. And in that case, the risk to the life is also increasing unless and until we are fully convinced that we have to reduce this life. She said epidemic. It's like say epidemic, you lose your life. It's not under your control. It's not because you made a mistake, because somebody did a wrong design. Somebody did not take care of this is a multimodal connectivity. We have to get out of the metro and go to take another mode of transport for the last mile. Somebody has not taken care of, and you lost your life. Pedestrian pathways, if see this W point, those who are from Delhi, the W point, the road crossing, that was the most prone to accidents. When I was Secretary, Ms. Mahua, we developed that system, and now there is hardly any accident. There is no accidents. People had to, perforce had to cross the road, and that was the most fast-moving road. You had no time to cross, yet people had to cross just to save time, otherwise they had to take a much longer path. So you have to come out with something innovative. And in our country there is so much of startups, so many new things. I was so happy to see your exhibition outside. So once we decide that this is the resolve for the world to bring down the loss of life on the roads to less than 50%, if we can do it for COVID, which was a pandemic which has impacted all developed economy, it has ruined their economic system, it has ruined their health systems, and yet India came out winner. Yet India came out with solutions which started guiding the rest of the world. If we can do it for India in a situation like pandemic, which has it has shaken the whole world, just a question of taking a resolve. And not that we do not have the technology, not that we do not have the know-how, not that we do not have the sensitivity, just putting the all dots together. There is a lot of talk about green mobility, sustainable mobility. Yes, why not? I mean, who more than those who are the residents of Delhi will appreciate it. We want to go green because the pollution which is causing so much of damage to our health is a public hazard, public health hazard. That is controlled. We want to go green because it will make life much better, better quality of life. But just being green, just being sustainable is not enough. We all know we also have to survive to enjoy the green. So the safety comes first, sustainability comes later. They have to go hand in hand. Both are essential and both have to go hand in hand. That is what we are, when the Honorable Prime Minister says, his vision is Viksit Bharat by 2047, less than 2.5 decades. Viksit Bharat means a very good quality of life for every citizen of India. Equity is a question of everybody enjoys that kind of quality of life. Everybody has the right on the roads to cross, to move, and move across not at the cost of your life, but safely. So it's just a question of we need to know that. In fact, somebody says the greenest mobility is you don't have to move. That is the greenest mobility. You don't have to move at all. In fact, way back in 2006, when Government of India came with National Urban Transport Policy, it was notified in 2006. The focus there was we have to move people and not move vehicles. Unfortunately, we always focused on moving the vehicle, make a faster road, have a flyover, have 2 lane to 3 lane to 4 lanes so that more and more people can move. But our population keep growing. We are going to create one more urban space as much today in the next 2.5 decades. How will you cope up with it? We have to think differently. Because that is there the question of our being Vikasit, our being developed, our taking our commitment to our own people, the citizens of this country. That is most important. And that is the focus of the discussion today. So we have all that. We're just putting the dots together in this session so that you as an August audience are a contributor to different things in this domain, the domain of safety, safe moving. We have come out with so many solutions, like metro is there, RRTS is there, BRTS is there. Now ropeway, new ropeway transport in Banaras is coming up. Very soon it will get inaugurated. We have buses, we have got different kinds of buses, low floor, different kinds of buses. We have everything. But how can we put these things together in a safe travel? Sarika told me that she has developed a very safe street in Gurgaon. In fact, I was very much enchanted and I have told her that I'll come and visit that. Maybe I'll request you to also visit if you get some time. If somebody has done a good work, that good work should be replicated elsewhere. That is how the country will become Viksit by 2047. The good work should not remain in islands. It should convert into continents, islands to continents. So in this session, we have 2 panelists, and I will conclude at the end. We'll take 1 hour. Started with a movie which, inconclusive, which we'll show later. The first speaker here is Mr. Venkata Subba Rao Chunduru. He has over 2 decades of experience working in the field of designing, planning, technology, infrastructure, all these fields which is relevant for this. And he is working with a Dutch company, Arcadis, as a Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, we have involved these people in our smart city mission. A lot of good work has been done. Again, those work has to be replicated. So to start with, let me first request Venkat to share his insights, experiences, knowledge and commitments towards this end of Vision Zero India. It is not Vision, Global Vision Zero, it's a Vision Zero India. So Venkat, over to you. Thank you.
Primarily, I can just start with few of my experiences in terms of course, these are experience with every one of you also, some of them. But I personally have learned some of these things which, like what sir was saying, which can be having a multiplier effect if you learn and then try to implement them in road safety process. One of the first things what takeaway for us was that in Bangalore, we are working very closely with the traffic police. And during New Year Eves, like what we realized was there was a lot of accidents, single day, largest number of fatalities and accidents were actually happening in Bangalore. And then we wanted to actually, Commissioner of Police wanted to actually make sure that we have a fatality-free New Year Eve to be done. And then we have actually put every other possibility to actually ensure that we are all ensuring that there are no accidents first of all, and if there are accidents, there are no fatalities. And all the key stakeholders were actually involved. And then we finally achieved that there are no fatalities. There were 4 accidents in 2025 New Year, but no fatalities. That was a big breakthrough. And I remember everyone was working towards that part. It was a pure collaborative effort when we saw everyone coming in here. So there are 2 lessons here. And I'll tell you another associated, like recently 2026 New Year, we wanted to repeat the same thing. And there were same protocol, same thing that we actually did. But then there was one accident that actually happened. One two-wheeler guy blatantly went at high speed and hit the curb, and then he was spot dead, but his wife, who is a pillion reader, she's now serious in hospital. So we said, like, when we did everything right in 2025 and repeated the same thing in 2026, what went wrong in this time, right? So one of the biggest learnings for us was that we can only prevent what we can predict. There are some things which we cannot predict, cannot be prevented. So I think our focus has to be on what is predictable and what we should focus on preventing what is predictable. This was one key lesson that we actually learned, and then we are trying to see how we can replicate. Second, as part of COVID, we all know when COVID came in, how it shook all of us, and I'm sure everyone lost some of their friends, family members during this exercise. But then there are a couple of things that actually happened very unique, right? So first one was that we all learned how to wear a mask, which was never a habit for us. We learned how to wear a mask, and then we knew that wearing a mask was a big thing for us. Second, we learned the importance of hygiene. We all were sanitizing our hands regularly. Though it was a good habit which was taught to us at the school time, nobody bothered about it, but then after COVID has taught us to sanitize our hands regularly, right? So nobody had to tell. After that, now today, nobody needs to tell us. That became an inherent habit for us. But more importantly, during COVID, one of the other things that we actually saw was also that the whole ecosystem was working with a one single unified objective of to see how we can get out of this and how we can save lives. Like for example, people were not looking at saving lives. People were looking at how to make oxygen available in hospitals. I remember every other officer was actually to make sure that cities are actually having adequate oxygen in their cities, right? So what was the mission for them? That is something is what is required. Now today, the biggest learning for us is that road safety has become a national crisis. We are not realizing that, but then we are in the crisis. It's a national risk. Losing 3% of GDP, we are not realizing it's how much impact it can actually cause. So I think one of the important takeaways for us from COVID was that there are simple things that need to be done to ensure that we all become accountable and responsible for our own lives. Second, the authorities, once they are aligned to one particular goal, I think the system can make it happen. And we use technology to the best during that period. The other part, key lesson takeaway was what happens when an air crash actually. All of us know the recent one that actually happened, which is Ahmedabad, what actually happened. One air crash, it has shooken up the whole world, and everybody is behind investigating that accident. Now, one accident happens, nobody bothers about it. I know a lot of places people record. Now, at least one good part is we are recording accidents in the country, but what happens, nobody is looking at why that accident happened, how it actually happened. Very rarely we do reconstruct the accident and we try to work on to see what went wrong. But why can't we do that part for road safety? So only when we do that part, the whole of aviation safety, if you think, they have moved it from a pilot's fault to a system fault. So they are now trying to make the system safe. Even if the pilot errs, the system will not make a crash happen in that case, right? So I think that is one thing that we need to learn from air crashes, that how we can actually make a system safe and non-vulnerable. The other important takeaway for us was that when we tried to, in one of the things that we worked out in Bangalore, people were not traffic as a problem. What we realized was that traffic police, though they are made accountable, not everything is in their control. There is so much, like for example, there are potholes there are vehicle breakdowns that actually happen, there are ambulance movements that are actually, there are construction permits that are construction work, so many things which are not in their control. But when Bangalore police goes and tells them, boss, you need to do this, nobody used to listen to them, right? But then with the support of the chief secretary and with the willingness of her, we actually set up a cross interagency dashboard. And then even a pothole was to be reported by a traffic police, and then she used to monitor whether those potholes are fixed on time or not. Now, she used to monitor whether ambulances are all coming on board or not. She was monitoring whether the BMTC buses, which are actually failing and taking 6 hours to rescue, they are trying to close it in fast or not. But nobody was listening to each other. There's no respect for each other. There's no collaboration between each other. But when the system was put in place as a multi-agency collaboration platform, and when on the top their performance is getting visible, everybody started performing in the whole ecosystem. Suddenly, we started seeing improvement in the whole city. So what is important is, like, tech plays a very important role in what we can do and what we need to achieve, and then we can actually make people accountable through the process rather than actually making physically people to sit together and then operate on that part. Last but not the least, I think there's big lesson what in our own Indian civilization, we actually know what is Swadharma and Rajadharma kind of a thing. If we are actually self-accountability and self-realization ke alawa, there is nothing else that can actually take us to a right goal. So I think important is that we need to make sure that we self-realize, and one simple thing, if we stop using mobile phones while driving, I think that is the biggest thing that we can give for ourselves and others. I think, can we all do that part today? Can we all make sure we wear seat belts? Can we all make sure that everybody is using helmets while driving? So these are few takeaways, and these are quick lessons that based on which I was trying to build one simple analogy. If you can go to the next slide. What I wanted to actually talk about, this is one example that I talked about where we were trying to make it a fatality-free New Year Eve. Next slide, please. So important is we need to change the definitions. We can't have the Western definitions being imported, and we are a growing economy. And then when we are growing, when so many vehicles are getting added up and so much of construction happening, so many things happening, I can't anticipate zero fatalities to happen in a short span of time. So what is important is, at a project level where projects are built and projects are matured, we can actually aim for zero fatalities on a project level. But what is important at a state level, a district level, or a national level, we need to think of net zero growth to be first curtailed. That's an achievable mission for what I feel is. right? If you can have, at least we don't need to grow. Make sure that we curtail the growth, and at least with the growth of economy and with so much of projects, so much of economic activity going around, can we just stop the growth of accidents? Can we maintain status quo? At least to that extent, can we actually achieve those things? So I think if you are able to shift the performance indicators, then I'm sure it will motivate people to work better, because the problem is the moment you put an impossible thing in front of you, then automatically we have lost the game even before we have started trying to play the game, right? So it's important that we actually set the goals right for ourselves to make sure that we do this part. There is a 5-code mechanism that is very important for us to make sure. As a gist I wanted to tell, we definitely need a paradigm shift to happen. We need to make sure that we are actually ensuring that there is a technology is put to place at all times. Important is that every one of us have to see the same risk of an accident. Make sure that the roads are under continuous surveillance. Make sure you predict the risk from happening, create the heat maps, and make sure that the actions are taken, and then make sure that when the incident happens, like what sir was saying, make sure the golden hour responses are made. One of the classic examples I'll tell, we are working with National Highway Authority on one of the programs on the last mile, the golden hour response process management with MapMy India. And one of the classic cases I saw was the paramedics are not trained properly. There was a major accident that actually happened. That gentleman was actually gasping, and then there's so much of blood pressure was actually going down. And the call comes to the command control center, I don't know what to do, can somebody help me? And there is no doctor in the command control center, the person on the paramedic doesn't know what to do. And then we all know what happens when the blood pressure keeps going on, right? And there is no doctor even for whom they can actually call. Fortunately, the call center guy knows one of his friend as a doctor, and then he called, and then he took him on the line and he said, like, use this thing, do this, use this injection, and then do that part. Fortunately, that guy was saved and put to hospital, right? But unfortunate situation, this is where we are in the current scheme of things. We don't have trained paramedics. We don't have the ecosystem ready, the infrastructure ready for actually addressing the victims who are actually getting through this crisis. So important is that we need the whole ecosystem to actually be geared up. And there is a huge amount of work that need to be done, and it cannot happen with presentations, conferences, awareness programs are not enough. We need a COVID kind of a response, definitely that is required. And there are hundreds of stories that we can talk about, which will shake us up, but end of the day, what is required is a unified action that is actually required, and realization that it's a national crisis for all of us. Most importantly, so many fatalities happening, there is no learning loop in the ecosystem. What is important is we need to make sure that every accident has a lesson for us. It could be a design lesson, it could be an operation lesson, it could be a technology lesson, it could be a people lesson that we can actually learn, but important is we need to learn. Unless we learn from what is going wrong, I think there is no way that we can actually improve. In fact, I constantly keep taking COVID as a classic example. We learned our mistakes. In the initial days, what actually happened versus what happened at the fag end of the second time when we were hit, what we did, our response was totally different. We learned from our mistakes what actually happened. So important is we definitely need a learning loop in the whole scheme of things, without which it won't happen. So what is this pronged approach is what definitely is what we prescribe that we should actually take into account and make sure that we do this. But next slide, please. While we do this, what tech can do is amazing. The classic example I told about multi-agency collaboration is excellent. What tech can do is it can actually start recording things. For example, in Bangalore, what we did was, as part of our Astram program, Actionable Intelligence for Sustainable Traffic Management, traffic police, though Bangalore was known for its congestion, till 2 years back, they never had a pattern of traffic patterns or congestion patterns in Bangalore. They never knew what were the 20 top junctions which are actually congested and what they need to do for that part. Now, without proper situational awareness, without awareness what actions you can take, they were just trying to act based on what they get to do every day that used to happen. But when we actually got into picture, we started gathering data at every junction level. We started gathering data, And we started giving them the situational awareness. First thing was how my weekday, how a Monday traffic behaves, what Monday morning versus Wednesday evening, what is the traffic pattern. It used to be like they had how to deploy resources, where accidents are happening, where breakdowns are happening. We started giving them intelligence. Now imagine the kind of, with that, how empowered the traffic police used to feel to actually make sure that what actions they need to take, they're well prepared to take actions today. And with 2 years of data that we have, we started predicting the congestions for tomorrow, day after. We started doing that part. Now they are empowered with data. The platform technology is giving them empowerment to actually act, take right decisions, evaluate their decisions on a platform, what is right, what works, what doesn't work, and then make sure that they are actually moving forward on those lines. And the learnings are actually getting shared across multiple team members. Between zones, they have a performance dashboard now. What happens in one city police area versus other, they are now in a competition to work with each other, right? Tech has a huge benefit, I can say, and it can actually bring a lot of accountability, a lot of transparency in the way that we can actually do. And I think this is a big shift that can actually happen in the whole ecosystem. Next. This is one small example I just wanted to take, how we are actually trying to improve how the junctions get designed, how the junctions get evaluated. Using AI, we are actually able to now trace the path of vehicles, and we are able to give near-miss analysis. We are able to tell even before the crash happens, we are able to predict these are the potential crash points, and through channelization, through better design, better regulation, we can actually improve the safety at the junctions, right? So this is one small example. There are so many things that are actually going on with the help of tech, and we can go on for hours together on that part. Next. We put up in Bangalore for the first time. We have actually did an AI-based signals which adapt to the traffic flow patterns, and they actually allow the greens or the pass-through is actually given based on the volume of traffic. And imagine, one of the important things that we never anticipated was, one, of course, the congestions are actually going to be coming down, speeds are going to be better. To our surprise, we also saw the speeds have got regulated and the safety has actually become much better. We have been able to reduce fatalities at these corridors and these junctions where the signals have been automated. So there is a regulated speed that now, for example, Bangalore, when you go to Map My India map, it actually tells you when you can actually see how much time you will actually get to see a green that is actually coming up. So there are a lot of things that we are doing in these lines. Next, please. So one of the important things that, again, there are two things that definitely we need to actually plan is, we need to make sure that the capability of the people are actually being enhanced, whether it is a paramedic or whether it is a designer or a planner or a district road safety authority, what they're actually doing. It's important that we need to make sure that the survival is actually first, but 37% of the fatalities are because of we are not able to give proper care at during the golden hour. So if you are able to save those lives, imagine what kind of outcomes that we can actually achieve, right? The second biggest thing is we need to make sure that we have a learning loop which is actually there, make sure we are able to predict and we are able to prevent them. I think this is, we need to move from a care, we need to make sure that we are giving a right care at the right time, we need to make sure that we are doing a root cause analysis, we need to make sure that we are taking corrective steps, we are actually making sure that we are able to enhance the capability by learning this part. This is very operational focus that is required to be given to the road safety teams on the grounds, which is very important, and we have been able to see the outcomes of these kind of actions being taken on the ground. Now, important is once we do, next slide please. So once we do this, there's one important thing that I would like to emphasize here is, when we saw the patterns of accidents that we realized, with the space, the pattern of accidents are varying. And with the time, the patterns are actually varying. So our interventions cannot be same. At the same point, I cannot have the same intervention and expect the same result to actually happen. So with space and with time, interventions have to change. So this is very important observation that we actually derived based on our analysis of the data, and we need to make sure that this, if it is actually goes into people, because they try to repeat the same thing at the same time or same space, and then they expect outcomes to happen which are not happening. So I think this is one of the important things that we wanted to actually emphasize, because the same thing, when on a corridor level, our interventions have to be different. At a city level, the interventions have to be different. At a district level, at a state level, at a national level, the imperatives, interventions have to be at a different level, different things have to be taken. I can't say same Vision Zero you actually implemented a project at a national level. So the interventions and the activations have to be totally different. Next slide, please. Now, after all this, one thing what I personally and also our team, what we feel strongly is that we need an Indian way of doing things. And definitely we can, with the kind of what we showed to the world in the COVID, the way we responded, not just for India, but to the world, we have been a support to the whole ecosystem. There is an Indian way that we can actually solve the problem of road safety and mitigate the country from risk. One is make sure that citizens become responsible. Second, the governance becomes accountable. And the third most important is there is a science and technology that is put to use. With the three things being put to use, I'm sure there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel that we can actually see with this kind of a process being deployed. Last but not the least, what I feel is with every effort being logged, every system being tracked, and with every action being made accountable, I'm sure we will be able to achieve the net zero as a first step. What we can do is definitely seems achievable, and we all need to come together towards that one action. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Venkat. With your lot of experience working in city of Bangalore, which is considered as, like I say, it's a nightmare moving in the city of Bangalore, which used to be such a beautiful city. I remember in young days when I was in college, going to Bangalore was such a fantastic experience. Nowadays, when you have to go to Bangalore, you feel like quite scared that how much time you will have to spend on the road. That's really difficult. So coming with this kind of a solution, and especially safety-focused solution, is a wonderful step and lot to learn from there. Now I move to my second panelist. Sarika, more known for her Ragiri. I mean, Ragiri, whether in Delhi or in Gurgaon or other places, she is more known for the non-motorized transport. Not the motorized, but non-motorized transport, where the people have the right on the road. When you take away the people from the road, you just have the vehicle. You are making it only for the vehicle. But ultimately, you have to make it for the people. So, without any further discussion, she is well known. She has worked in the bicycle sharing, in the cycle, in various other projects, as I mentioned to you in Gurgaon, on this safe streets. So, over to you, Sarika. Thank you.
Like to thank IRF to organize this and making the title as Vision Zero. And whatever we say, this is achievable. Either starting from one street or one black spot, this is achievable. And it is not that India is different. We are equally competent to achieve. If Helsinki can achieve, if Sweden can achieve, if Bogota is about to achieve, we can also achieve Vision Zero. That is my firm belief. We need to start, but we need to start to achieve this. That's it. I'm like not going into more data, but because everyone knows how many deaths, how many injuries happening, I want to show this video, which is an old video, but can you play this video from there? Now, previous slide, there is a video in the left. You need to click it. लेफ्ट में देखो उसको, ये जो आइसबर्ग बना है ना, उसको क्लिक करोगे तो नीचे वीडियो दिखेगा. सॉरी, It's okay. Technical glitches, but what is, you can play now. So road safety, we see it as an iceberg, okay? We see that 2.5 lakh people dying, but just see how much underneath impact and other data we have. It is not about the 2.5 lakh people dying. It is about another 3 lakh plus people getting seriously injured who get permanently disabled, which is even much more worse than somebody's dying. Because the breadwinner, only breadwinner of the family is in bed now. You need to support the medical for him and also running the household. So the burden to the woman in the family. And another 6 lakhs people get some kind of injuries. It's about 10 lakh families getting impacted every year in our country. So that's what. Sir already told about, one plane crash happens and how the entire globe talking about it, but every day we are losing one jumbo jet in our country. What is going wrong? Like what other part of the world doing? Why they are able to decline now? Globally 13% road traffic deaths and injuries are declining, but in India it is increasing to 11 to 12%. Where we are going wrong, actually. So this is the problem. It's an individual's duty. आप गाड़ी अच्छे से चलाओ, आप helmet पहनो, आप seat belt पहनो. You know, this is like a victim blaming system, the mindset we have. That is true, but we have seen behavioral changes also happens because of safe system. Then empathy, we don't have empathy. If a pedestrian crossing, we will honk more. We need to speed our car. So there is no empathy, and we will always blame the pedestrian why he is doing or she is doing jaywalking. We don't have pedestrian infrastructure in our country. We don't even have a proper zebra crossing in most of our signals or intersections. We don't have footpaths. We don't have footpaths at all. World Bank has done a study, we have only 2% walkable footpaths in our country. That is also not universally accessible, by the way, that 2% also. Then speeding, highway type. Our highways are going inside the city, inside the villages. We cannot treat it as a highway. We need to treat it as an urban road. Then speeding is a problem again. And our drivers are not equipped to that speed actually. That is also a problem. And then penalties, we know how it is system is working in our country. Post-crash response already talked. Data. Data is again a big problem right now. We don't have adequate data. We don't have gender data. We don't have age data so far, including in our policy. For whom we are developing this infrastructure? If we don't know in a particular place a woman or a children then everybody thinks that, oh, flyover bana do, footover bridge bana do. If a woman is dying, a pregnant woman died in that intersection, do we need a footover bridge in that intersection? Or do we need to cater to that woman, that type of, because we always developing infrastructure for abled male body in our country. That's the problem. Then lack of also knowledge. So overall, we know that, what globally people are doing, accepting safe system approach and how they are addressing all other SDGs through one road safety project. And I'll show you in the, what we know how we have done it, how we have achieved it, I'll show in my side. These are the 4 things is the primary to do. Safety comes first, not traffic jams. So what is happening? We are going opposite. Traffic jams happening, let's widen the road. Let's make more flyover, let's make more footover bridge, which is again causing unsafe road infrastructure to our country. Again, multiple disciplinary and all that. So this is again, we all know. Traditional approach still we are adopting, educate people, educate people, educate people. Every time we are doing lot of awareness campaigns, lot of other things to educate people. But from last 40 years, nothing changed. So we need to reverse it. Okay, and what global best practices, we no need to reinvent the wheel. What has been proven concept, we need to adapt it to our own conditions, that's it. So the global goal, already sir has promised me through Supreme Court committee, we are going to achieve this, and we are very hopeful, sir, that at least 50%, not 0. It will take another 50 years, I guess, but at least if we can achieve 50% by 2030 will be a great achievement for all of us, at least not increasing 13-14% every year. I'm not going into this. These are the 5 pillars we need to really be focused and work on. Road safety management is very important. That's why we need boards in the states and the districts. More not DRSC meetings kind. Safer road infrastructure. Every single street in our country should have a 1.5-meter footpath. Can't we have a can't we give 1.5 meter to a pedestrian in our street? If it is a 12-meter road, also a pedestrian deserves 1.8-meter wide footpath. Forget about cycle track, forget about fancy infrastructure. Just accessible 1.8-meter footpath. Right? So that's the thing. Safer vehicles, we have achieved a lot in safer vehicles. Road users, behavioral, we need, but we have seen that, because of better infrastructure, behavioral always change. I give example of metro in Delhi. Nobody spit or throw garbage in metro. Why? Because that kind of infrastructure has been developed in this. Then emergency care, of course, we really need to work on it. So that's it. If somebody had an accident in Gurgaon, still people take it to PGI Rohtak. That's the condition so far in our condition. Talked about technology because the concept is safer infrastructure and technology. So we are using, in Gurgaon also, we are using that technology and we are using it for road audits. Because manual road audits takes lots of time. So we are using doing road audits through technology now. And recently we completed 800 meter of municipal corporation roads audit. So that was almost Gurgaon Manesar 800 kilometer road audit we did. And basic things, is there a broken footpath? Is there some obstruction in the footpath? Is there a zebra crossing or not? Road safety element or a pothole? Is there dust in road? We captured dust also because dust pollution is the biggest thing. So these are a few things we captured through our AI-based road audit system, and we are going to work on at least 20-25 kilometer every year to make basic infrastructure change so that the street is pothole free, road safety elements are aligned, and a walkable footpath. That's it. Globally, every country has adopted Vision Zero, which is safe system approach, and it's been proven concept, so that's why India also need to adopt Vision Zero. And why Vision Zero? We cannot even not a one death due to road crashes is acceptable. That's why it is zero, right? Like you all can be saved if I die, so that is not acceptable to me, so not even 1%. Again, strengthening this, I'm not going into what Rahagiri Foundation do, but we all work in all 6 E's, and how we work is in very detail. In engineering, we do a lot of intersections improvement, black spot improvement, street improvement. In education, we don't do quiz competition, painting competition, but we do capacity building training of the school kids. We do audits with the school kids. We do workshop with the school kids, and the elder school kids after 9th grade onwards, not with younger school kids. Engagement, we do engagement with all the stakeholders, including private consultations, corporates, like NASCOM, CIN, etc. Include them in our thing. Enforcement, emergency response, and evaluation strategy, because you need to understand what you have done, what went wrong and what went right, and how we need to improve that. So evaluation is very, very, very important. So now you really need to play these videos, otherwise there is no point of my presentation. So now you will see these are the 5, we have done a lot of work, but five improvement that I want to see, that how we can do, how we can achieve 50% by 2030.
footbridges and NMT facilities, but people don't use them because they are inaccessible, uncomfortable and poorly connected to each other. Another issue is that buses traveling to and from Rajiv Chowk halt here without a designated bus stop, which inevitably creates congestion. So to fix it, they took all the roads coming in from different angles and fed them into a properly designed intersection with pedestrian passages, proper U-turns, slip roads, lots of landscaping, zebra crossing and rumble strips to slow drivers while ensuring safe and continuous pedestrian access throughout. It took 6 months of continuous effort by the Rahagiri Foundation using tactical urbanism tools like cones, paints, pollards and drone data to study pedestrian behavior. Based on those findings, they introduced 6 different traffic signals to minimize conflict points. Each approach now has its own dedicated phase. Because of this, there has been a 38% reduction in fatalities. This entire project was carried out under the Gurugram Vision Zero initiative, led by the Gurugram District Administration in collaboration with Gurugram Traffic Police, NHI and GMDA. And as a large share of the traffic consists of buses, the future plan includes 6 designated bus bays with proper waiting and sitting areas, extensive landscaping to curb pollution and dust, and metal fencing along passenger path. Much of this fencing and landscaping is already done at several spots, making it both safe and accessible. Inside the circle, there
show you that we always say that behavioral change we need to do a lot of awareness campaign and all that, but you just see when you do right kind of infrastructure improvement, people behavior automatically change. And you can see in all this, people are walking in footpath where there is designated, people are stopping in traffic islands and people are waiting for the signal, the vehicles are waiting for the signal to turn. So this is science. We cannot work in theory. This road safety has to be, solved scientifically. That's it. Last एक video और दिखा दीजिएगा, मैं बता दूँगी. Next. And in all this, somewhere we have achieved 0 fatalities now, and many places is more than 50 to 60% reduction now. Next slide. Next. This is one school zone I want to show you. Play कर दीजिए. सर मैंने 10 मिनट ही ली प्रेजेंटेशन. This is the last one. So this is the street I was talking about. This is a 0 fatality street nights in industrial area, and every year there used to be 5 fatalities.
Hazards and barely any space to walk, making it both confusing and unsafe for everyone. This street is an access road that goes around businesses, and it used to be configured like this, a chaotic stretch with no footpaths and zero structure, but now it looked like this. The first thing they added was a shared use path along the side for pedestrian and cyclists. They added on-street parking, narrowed the lanes in several spots, and built raised crosswalks, all of which naturally slow down traffic and also make crossing easier for wheelchair users. Not only has this improved traffic flow, safety and pedestrian access, but it also looks a lot nicer. But the government's plan would have removed nearly all 400 existing trees and widened the road to allow more vehicles. Exactly how the government usually does. That's when the Rahagiri Foundation stepped in. Instead of widening the road, they created a people-first design that prioritizes pedestrians and cyclists while saving all 400 trees. Today, this road is free of dust and pollution, previously it was nothing like this. They proved that streets should work for people, not just for cars driving through or sitting in traffic jams. And in doing so, they showed that people first walkable redesigns are not just meant for big cities, they are for communities of all sizes.
So thank you so much. So what I want to say is that, we can also build world-class infrastructure. Last एक thank you slide मेरा दिखाएंगे, मैं बहुत उसको दिखाना चाहती हूँ. नहीं. So this is our approach, right? More roads, underpasses, flyovers, filthy, this cannot be our urban infrastructure, not for cities. This can be access highways for fleet and everything, but when it comes to cities, we need public transport, more and more buses, sir. Our humble buses has died somewhere, but sir has tried PME bus drive, so we are hopeful. More public transport with more exposure to your accident. So we need to build better. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarika. I know you can take another half an hour, continue doing this, but time is always the most important thing, and we have already overshot. I don't know whether we have time to take any questions, but the discussion has been very nice. I mean, coming to people who have demonstrated on the ground, and this is something the country must resolve, and we must do that. It is in our interest, and it is in the interest of making Bharat Viksit by 2047. Because Viksit is not infrastructure, an infrastructure which is safe and improve the quality of life of the citizens. So this is something which is essential. We need to move towards that. And I will request Srivastav ji, because what Sarika has shown is something which is her endeavor. But let me tell you, as a Secretary to Government of India, I have traveled across the country and many people have come out with various kinds of solutions. There is no dearth of expertise, there is no dearth of commitment, but there are all smaller islands. We need to connect them. If your portal or if your website can provide a platform on which all such good work can be demonstrated, maybe more and more, because this should be one thing in a outcome of a workshop like conclave like this, all good practices should be showcased to more and more people that could motivate others and can demonstrate them. Well, this is also possible, and you can make it do. You can make it happen. So if you can do that, that can be a very big outcome of this particular conversation. So if there is anything we'd like to answer, otherwise I would like to close the session. We have already overshot 1 hour. Yes.
Thank you to our presenters for their wonderful presentations. This was quite an eye-opening session. When you move from statistics to real life, it does become quite emotional. I will request our session chair to please present our speakers with mementos. I request Mr. Mishra to please present a memento to Mr. Venkata Subbarao Chandru. I request Mr. Mishra to present a memento to Ms. Sarika Bhatt. I request Kapila sir to please come up on stage to present a memento to our session chair, Mr. D.S. Mishra. Thank you. I request all of you to gather for a group photograph, please.